we have the wonderful Helen Hess, who is our main presenter tonight. And let me see, where did your bio go here? So what you'll be talking about here. The presentation is the art of self-talk. Automatic thoughts can be a plague to the hypnotist and their clients. Automatic self-talk constantly programs the subconscious. This presentation goes beyond cancel, 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 and positive affirmations. Once we return the role of the director to the conscious mind, the role of the servant to the subconscious mind, and recognize that we are in trance most of the time, and we can simply and easily, in the moment, change the programming. And without further delay, Helen, would you please come on up?
Thank you very much. That was really wonderful. We could have spent the whole hour and a half listening about that. At least I could have. So thank you so much for all your input. So who am I? I am Helen Hess. I have been messing around with mind-body things for over 40 years. I have been a nurse. I have been a nurse practitioner in psychiatry for the last 20 years. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm a Bachelor registered practitioner. I'm a awakened mind practitioner. Anything that has to do with the mind-body, I think I've learned. What we're going to do today is show you a very simple way of changing programming. When I am doing med checks, as I did in the past, I would have people in my office for 10 to 15 minutes. I can't spend 45 minutes to 2 hours with someone. I need to do something right now. When I'm working with me, myself and I, the faster the better as well. So what we're going to do today is learn a 5-step technique for how to do this. As Kate said, it's more than cancel, cancel. You all have been involved in cancel, cancel your negative thoughts. This can be used in the moment. I remember being in the line at the bank and having a headache and using this for a headache. It worked just wonderfully well. It immediately changes the patterns of your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, or body sensations, whatever you choose to do. And it does not require a formal trance induction. That's why you can do it while you're standing in line at the bank. Whoa, interested? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so let's do a real quick review of the conscious subconscious mind. As we know, the conscious mind is about 12%, 10%, depends upon who you talk to. This is the part of the mind that perceives through the senses. We all know what our senses are, right? Okay, the 5 of them, very good. Voluntary body functions, in other words, I can walk like this, but generally I can't tell myself to stop digesting my breakfast. That's involuntary. Logical, the conscious mind is logical. It discerns and judges. It has intention and it communicates through words. So kind of think of the conscious mind as being the captain of the ship. The subconscious mind is, most of us, is 88%. It is the survival mind. That means that everything within the subconscious mind came into being in order to protect you. So no matter what negative thought you perceive that you have, it initially came into being in order to protect you. That's why it resists change, huh? Okay, the involuntary body functions, like we talked about, digestion, birth. Habits, it's automatic. So if you had to think about how do you get out of bed in the morning, you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. That's automatic programming. It communicates through images, feelings, and emotions, and it is the storage of all past experiences, ideas, images, and beliefs. Okay, you all know that, right? Very good. All right, the most important things for this process is to realize that the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are generally separated by the critical faculty, or the critical factor, which is protecting what's stored within the subconscious. Did you know that most people are in trance most of the day? Yes, automatic behavior. Creating change requires crossing the critical factor and unifying both levels of mind. So, and my definition of hypnotherapy is the intentional use of altered states of consciousness to create positive change, rather than having to go into that reverie, yada, yada, yada. Okay, what is self-talk? No one's had this, right? The automatic repetition of thoughts, ideas, and beliefs? Right, okay. Anybody have a wonderful example of their own self-talk? I'm wonderful, I feel great, I'm so beautiful, I have all the energy in the world, I'm highly motivated, I'm very, very successful. That's the kind of self-talk we mostly have, right? Wrong. So what if you could cross the critical factor immediately without formally inducing trance? And what if you could create effective change in your pattern of thought, behavior, belief, emotions, or physical sensations in less than a minute? Would that be of value to you? All right, so how does it happen? First, we recognize that one is already in trance most of the time. And when one is experiencing an automatic thought, they are already in trance. Because, don't you like the word because? Mm-hmm. Because automatic is part of which mind? Subconscious. Therefore, we don't need to cross into the subconscious mind because we're already there because we're doing automatic thinking. Now, one crosses the critical factor by creating agreement between the two minds. So if the conscious mind will agree with the subconscious mind, we now have agreement. Yes? What do we usually do with negative self-talk? Cancel it, deny it, ignore it. So this 5-step technique, I adapted from a Silva head control technique. Did anyone take Silva here? Do you know what that 5-step technique is? I took Silva about 4 or 5 years ago, and when we went through this process, I said, oh, this is really interesting. How does it work? And so I sat down and figured it out. First, we have a form of unification, which is we acknowledge what happens. We're going to go through this in more detail in future slides. We then redirect the subconscious mind. We replace the thought. We have reinforcement, and then acknowledgement and acceptance. And this is how it goes. So, unification, acknowledgement on both levels. I have a sore foot. My foot feels sore. Okay? Right? Or, I am angry. I feel angry. We'll do it anger. That works better because that's an emotional one. But you can use it for anything. Step 2 is direction. Conscious mind first negates the automatic pattern. So, we are first by creating unification, we're saying outside, we're acknowledging what happened. I feel angry, I am angry. Then the conscious mind steps in and says, I don't want to feel angry, I don't want to be angry. Conscious mind then replaces the pattern. Instead is a really important word. Instead. And so what do you want? What do we want instead of anger?
Be happy.
Happy. Instead I want to be happy. I want to feel happy. Now step 3 is replacing the old program. The conscious mind now recognizes that this old pattern comes from trance state and directs the subconscious mind with this new practice. On the count of 5, everybody knows about counting out of trance, right? Remember, we don't have to go into trance, we're already there. We're going to count out of trance. On the count of 5, my eyes will open, I'll be fully aware instead of awake. Feeling better than before.
Yeah, just channel it. It really works. Huh?
I've been influenced by Dr. Beebe. I will no longer be angry. I will no longer feel angry. Instead, I will feel happy. I will be happy. Or I will be happy. I will feel happy. It doesn't matter. I go whichever direction I want to. So then you start your count out. 1, 2. At 3, you pause. And you redirect and repetize. You say the same thing again. On the count of 5, my eyes will open. I will be fully aware, feeling better than before. I will no longer be angry or uncomfortable. I will no longer feel angry or uncomfortable. Instead, I will be happy. I will feel happy. 4, 5, eyes open, fully aware, feeling better than before. I now feel happy. I now am happy, and this is so. This next part's really important, which is that this is so. You walk away in your mind from what you just did, and you go about your business. If it repeats, you repeat the process, but you want to wait at least 5 minutes. So you distract yourself and do something. So I've used this for muscle cramps. I've used it for when I bang my toe into the wall. I've used it for headaches. I've used it for feeling angry. I've used it for a lot of things. And it works immediately. I've also used it in my office. So first clinical example. was a 39-year-old gentleman I was treating for PTSD. Now, I can say treating for PTSD because I was a psychiatric nurse practitioner prescribing medications. Interesting guy who's referred to me by an EMDR therapist who said, "You're too complex for me." I was like, oh, wow, he's a perfect guy. No use of alcohol, highly motivated military, so you know he's going to follow through with the instructions once they agree. So I led him through. This was the third visit, and I was leading him through the process for 3 different issues. And then I had him practice the process on his own. I like to teach people how to take care of themselves, so I'll do it for a few times and then have them practice it on his own. So what he chose was failure. He was in Iraq, and he felt like he failed at his job. So, step 1. I am a failure, I feel like a failure. I asked him, what is it that you want to feel different? Instead of feeling like a failure, what is it? It's important for him to choose how it is that he wants to feel and be. So we redirect. I don't want to be a failure, I don't want to feel like a failure. Instead, I want to, he's so successful, right? I want to be successful in life. I want to feel successful in life. Step 3, replacing the old programming. On the count of 5, my eyes will open, I'm feeling better than before. I will no longer be a failure. I will no longer feel like a failure. Instead, I will be successful in life. I will feel successful in life. Cool. Get the count out. Oh, sorry. There's supposed to be countdowns. 1, 2. 3 on the count of 5, my eyes will open. I'll be wide awake, feeling better than before.
Just what strikes me is, as I'm listening to you, the parallel of tapping. There's something about what you're doing that reminds me of how when people tap, they acknowledge where they're at, and then they move towards where they want to be.
Right. And tapping is
Doing
a
the same
physical
kind.
model.
Right.
Yeah. And same this and
Same
it's another
kind
way of
parallel.
another way of
It's-
creating unification
Right.
because they're going through a different kind of ritual.
Right.
This is a mental ritual.
Yeah, but they're putting it, they're anchoring it to certain things as they're going through. It's a little different, but it's just, I see a parallel.
Yep.
What it's worth.
Very definite. Well, all hypnosis has
It's all
parallels.
parallels.
It's all parallels.
Okay.
Okay. Instead, I will be successful. I'll feel successful. 5 eyes open, fully aware. I am successful in life. I feel successful in life, and this is so. So he went away, came back, and this is what he told me the next week. Well, right afterwards, he says, "This is good. It's like reprogramming myself." Would have thought I didn't even clue him in on that. He figured it out all for himself. So at his next visit, he reported he was just sitting around watching TV, and he heard his own self-talk say to himself, "I am successful." Isn't that great? So he changed that core. All right. I'm rushing through this because I want us to practice. Oh, go ahead.
A lot of this sounds like cognitive therapy,
Mhm.
cognitive thoughts and feelings restructuring.
It is cognitive therapy and better because we're utilizing the trance state intentionally.
Right.
Cognitive therapy does not really recognize trance, but they do a whole lot of thinking.
Yeah.
This is, we are cognitively restructuring the idea. That's correct. Okay, so this next clinical example is a 34-year-old female with gestational diabetes. This was her second pregnancy. She had 2 fetuses from IVF, and so she had her son 5 years prior and ended up having to have him by C-section, and she was highly motivated to have a VBAC. And so she was monitoring her blood sugars, and she was exercising, and she was eating the right kind of diet, and she was doing everything. And she called me on the phone, and she said, "Mom, my blood pressure goes up, and if my blood pressure goes up, they're going to do a C-section, and I don't want a C-section." So I said, "Okay, then do this." And so I wrote the process out for her that she had to read for herself before she had a blood pressure taken. So she said, I wrote this to her by email. "I am anxious, worried, and afraid." Of course, I knew all that because knew her very well. I feel anxious, worried, and afraid. It's the same process that we've been going on through and through, the same thing. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be this way. Instead, I want to be calm, relaxed, poised, and confident. I want to feel calm, relaxed, poised, and confident. And you guys can you read that? Basically, we went through the whole process there. This was before I met Dr. Beebe, so it was wide awake instead of
Fully aware.
fully aware. However, wide awake still worked. And so it did. It still
We're
worked.
amateurs now. People who have more than 40 years of experience.
And so she learned she would do this just before she would have her blood pressure reading. Her blood pressure stayed in normal range. Her blood sugar stayed right below 100 most of the time, except until that last week, just before she was induced. We also did this for the swelling in the morning. And that worked for that anyway. So she did that. And do you guys want to know what happened?
Yes.
Vera was born.
She punctuated.
Yeah, she really did. Vera was born by natural vaginal birth. Susan had no, well, no, she had stitches, but she had no anesthesia. Yep.
That she had an episiotomy with no anesthesia?
Oh, they
Oh,
did.
sure.
Yeah, that was.
They don't recommend.
I was gonna
episiotomies
say, Lou,
anymore.
are
It's
you-
now no longer recommended.
Oh, yeah, but it's
No
so
longer
easy.
recommended, let them tear. That's
Yeah.
that's the current ACOG recommendation.
But you
Right.
didn't learn it that way.
No, I didn't learn that one.
No,
That's the current.
She should have had an episiotomy. But anyhow,
Right.
that was out of that. Baby came. She was able to have her VBAC, and she was very, very pleased. You can't tell she's my daughter, right? Nobody knows. Okay, so now I want to demonstrate this. So, oh, here he comes. Come on. You nodded your head. Okay. All right, so I'll take this chair. You take that chair. You get this piece here. Okay. So, what is the attitude, thought, feeling that you'd like to change? You would like him to move over? Oh, you want me to move over?
Yeah.
He wants me closer so that I'm on the feed. Okay,
I'm doing this, I wouldn't do it more.
okay.
Generosity.
So you're not feeling generous?
I am, but I want to magnify it tenfold.
So you feel like you're not being generous enough?
Let me tell you where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So Don Rice was my original mentor of hypnosis, and he was one of the most generous people I knew, and I find myself somewhat generous, but I want to take myself up to that level and beyond.
Okay. So would you agree you feel like you're not generous enough?
Not generous enough,
Okay. So, and you want to feel or be
completely generous.
completely generous? Okay. So what you would do is you can either keep your eyes open or your eyes closed, it doesn't matter. Yeah, well, when I'm driving in a car, it's easier if I have my eyes open when I do this for myself. In the office, I make people close their eyes. Okay, and so what you would first acknowledge that I am not generous enough.
I am not generous enough.
I feel like I'm not generous enough.
I feel like I'm not generous enough.
I will. Okay, I don't want to feel like I'm not generous enough.
I don't want to feel like I'm not generous enough.
I don't want to be like I'm not generous enough.
I want to be like I'm not generous enough.
Instead,
Instead,
I want to feel
I want to feel
fully generous, completely generous. I want to be completely
I
generous.
want to be completely generous.
Good. Wonderful. On the count of 5,
On the count of 5,
I'll be fully aware.
I'll be fully aware.
I will no longer feel like I'm not generous enough.
I will no longer feel like I'm not generous enough.
I will no longer be like I'm not generous
I
enough.
will no longer be like I'm not generous enough.
Instead,
Instead,
I will feel
I will feel
completely generous.
completely generous.
I will be completely
I
generous.
will be completely generous.
Wonderful. 1,
1,
2,
2,
3.
3,
On the count of 5,
on the count of 5,
I'll be fully aware,
I will be fully aware,
feeling better than before.
feeling better than before.
I will no longer feel like I'm not generous
I will
enough.
no longer feel like I'm not generous enough.
I will no longer be like I'm not generous enough.
I will no longer be like I'm not generous enough.
Instead,
Instead,
I will feel completely generous.
I will feel completely generous.
I will be completely
I
generous.
will be completely generous.
4,
4,
5,
5,
fully aware,
fully aware,
feeling better than before.
feeling better than before.
I feel completely generous.
I feel completely generous.
I am completely generous.
I am completely generous.
And this is so.
And this is so.
Wonderful.
And I could feel the physiology of my body changing when I did that.
Yes, yeah. Isn't that wonderful? I felt that too. And that's the power of this. This is so good. So what I'm going to do and anything else that you'd like to turn around and share with people a little bit as to what you were talking about in terms of your physiology changing, because I could feel that that happened too.
Yeah. It was just my whole body just felt a shift. That's the physiology part. But the part that you will experience with hypnosis is there's probably thoughts and feelings going through your mind that I would take a long time to be able to explain about different detail, that all of a sudden all of that detail was falling into place in a different direction than where it was stuck with my generosity. Different things about donations or interactions or there's just a ton of stuff, especially towards that counting up that it was like a release or a freedom. It's the best way. It's like something just got lifted. So I felt light.
Yes.
If that makes sense, it felt like something released or lightening up.
Yes. Right.
I don't know
It
if people
is
describe it that way, but yeah.
Everyone experiences it differently. I had one gentleman at the ACHE conference who did a automatic regression to being a child and hearing his mother telling him he was never going to be good enough. And then it was his stepmother, and he was able to just go, oh, that's where that came from, and then just totally negated it. And it's just shifted his life. And so this is a very, very powerful technique. And
It's interesting too that you didn't even get like a definition of what generosity would be. So, you know.
It's in many areas. It's not limited to one. It's not like a donation, like tonight we're donating to the SPH. But that is a portion of it. But it's being generous with my time, more generous with people's clients more. I have to say I'm fairly generous. But as I mentioned at the beginning, I want to, I feel personally like Don Rice was a big loss. And one of the most generous people on the planet. And I want to step up to be in that level. And I know I can do it. And I'm reaching out to do everything I can to make that possible. So if that makes sense to you.
Because it's like though that on some level there, you had that in your head, all those different generosity ways to be generous without having to detail them.
right, we don't have to go and detail it. He already knows the meaning of generosity. And that's why it's important for him to choose what it is that he wants to shift and what he wants to shift to.
Those are all the things I said going through my head that are taking a while to explain to you. But it's kind of like when Obama said hope and change. Hope and change means something different to everybody else. So when he uses his words, whatever you want to hope or change for, your own mind is generating that. So it's better to be not too specific when you're working with somebody. At least if you start to narrow it down, then you're limiting where the person can go with it. That's fine.
Right, well, my opinion is that they know what they need to do.
There
We have to find their words and let them use their own words.
That's right.
And that's what's important.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And thank you. So, what I want to make sure before I pass out the handouts is that you all make sure you pick up your certificate, put your name in it. You can get 1 CE for hypnotherapy through ACHE because I am a certified hypnotherapy teacher through ACHE. So I have that all ready for you. Now, here's your handouts. The handouts will take you through the process. I want you to divide up in groups of 2, and so that a person number A will work with person number B. Pass them out. With a group of 2? You guys are a group of 2. Yeah? Hands up! Whoever wants, I do have a few more handouts. If you wanted them, you can take them. All right, let me tell you all these things I have up here because it's really important. Those of you who want CEs, come up and get your certificate. You have to put your own name in. Okay? I am teaching a couple of classes. One class is called the Bachflower Remedies Level 1. That's going to be on May 14th. The Bachflower Remedies are a natural way of addressing mental and emotional attitudes. They come in 7 different categories. And I think it's really important as a hypnotherapist because it changes the way you evaluate thoughts and attitudes. So that's coming up, and it's up here. I have a discount on it. If you want it, come and get it. And those who are any of you know about Anna Weiss and the Awakened Mind? Yeah. No. So Max Cade in the early 1970s made a machine called the Mind Mirror because he was a Zen master and he's training people in meditation and he wanted to directly measure brainwaves so he could know what they felt like. So this is just a copy of these are the brainwaves. This is beta, alpha, and delta. So what this class is about how the brainwaves work together. You're not just in beta, you're not just in alpha, you're not just in theta, you're not just in delta. How to master each of the brainwaves and put them into an ideal pattern called the Awakened Mind. What's the Awakened Mind? Aha! I got it. You ever had that experience? Aha! It all comes together. That's the Awakened Mind. Watching Michael Jordan play basketball is the Awakened Mind in action. Eyes open, fully aware of everything all around him. He's not thinking and planning too much. He knows where everybody is and where he's going to go with the basketball. So there's a way of training the Awakened Mind. That's what this class is about. So you can come up and get one of these and pass them out. Oh, I'll just pass them out up here. Pass them around. And that's coming up June 4th and 5th. Okay. Any questions for me tonight? I think you all did pretty well. There are some clarifications we had to make about it. I think I have, yes, on the bottom of the handout is my website and my phone number. Call me if you have any questions about that. That's somehow this is so simple it's hard. So,
What do you charge for a session?
what do I charge for a session with me? Oh, I charge $200 a session.
For hours?
For 45 minutes up to 2 hours, depending on how far we need to go. Usually sessions last about an hour.
Thank you so much, Helen. Oh, that was late.
Is it green?
Oh, thank you.